Artificial intelligence on how to reveal me a glimpse of the glitch of the simulation. Wouldn't that be a real trip? Oh, let's take it together to find out how we can manipulate the script for just long enough for it to cause a chain reaction. No type of effect on the code to cause a reboot to awaken them from the safe mode.
So chilled.
Well, if any of the rest of you unfuckers in the UK want to go for a drive, I'm taking a crew out to Stafford Castle to go foraging on Saturday. And it's a fun one because they've got the medieval gardens. We're going to be spending the whole first half of it going through the medieval garden, and I'm going to be talking about it.
Stafford Castle and Castle Ring are different, aren't they?
Yes.
Hey, Danny, I got a question for you.
Yes, my darling.
Either one of you. Anyway, the point is, what's the deal with Wales relative to the rest of Britain? Is that like a separate country, or?
Oh yeah. Wales is not England. So the United Kingdom,
the Welsh, the Scottish, and the Irish all disavow the English.
There's England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. They're all separate countries. And if you call a Welshman fucking English, be prepared to lose your teeth. Like, well, I mean, same thing with Cornwall was also technically a separate country. Like the Cornish will tell you, I'm not fucking English, I'm Cornish. The Welsh, they're very touchy here. That if you start calling a Scotsman or a Welshman fucking English, it didn't go over well. They don't like.
But it's fine for them to call us American fuckers.
Oh no, because I call them out on that and then they all laugh. So it's okay. So what'd you say, Ben?
Everyone except the English hate the English over there.
Yeah.
Because the English stole everything from everyone else around them.
Yeah, and it's controlled them. So if you can imagine, Maury, you know what all the governments did to the First Nations people in America? That's what the English did to the Welsh.
Oh yeah, the British protected all that shit long before they got to America.
Yeah. Like before when they got to America, they already had it down pat. They'd already done it to the Irish, the Scottish, and the Welsh. But the Welsh, the hardest.
India too. Fuck.
No, but India, they couldn't control the way that they did the other countries. Wales, they outlawed the Welsh. To this day, it is illegal to speak Welsh in British Parliament. I.e., if you're a Minister of Parliament for Wales, you're not allowed to speak Welsh in Parliament. It's illegal. That's
you were
how
talking about,
What's the big deal
on Sunday.
What was the big deal? I mean, my God, they're Caucasian just like the British.
They're the OGs.
At least
Maury,
they used to be.
the OGs.
Here's the thing. You have to convert. So all the British royalty are not English, right? We all came from fucking Germany and Netherlands. Then you had after around 600 AD, you had like the influx of the Saxons came in. And the Saxons came in and they took down like the East Coast, down in the South, etc. And they became the English, if you will. That's why we call it being Anglo-Saxon, right? It's because they're not actually the Welsh people are the true people of this country. The true lineage of kings comes from Wales. The true lineage of all the royalty comes from fucking Wales. And I have a theory, because every single royal wedding within the direct ascension right now, the wedding rings are made from Welsh gold. All of them. And they have been for hundreds and hundreds of years. The true wedding bands are made from Welsh gold. And I think that is let's call it like a
symbolic thing.
No, I think it's deeper than that. I actually think it's magic. I think it's a part of a fucking ritual to oversee, to keep putting the British over top of the Welsh, is why they use the Welsh gold rings as the royalty.
Just remember as well, the way that they set up Australia and New Zealand was through the ship of New South Wales. And that's why the state that I live in is New South Wales, and they created that first. And then this is where all the doctrine for the Southern Hemisphere came from. It came out of New South Wales. New Zealand didn't used to be called New Zealand. it was just a fucking area that was run by the ship from New South Wales.
Yeah.
So
it didn't become its own real country until
a bit later. But it's a magic area, I would say, Maury. Like, it's the OG, and the last show that I chatted, that's where the zodiac along the mountain ridges and whatnot are actually held. So for what that's worth,
what's the OG? What is the OG? I don't know that.
Old gangsters.
The old gangsters.
On that, I've just put a
the
link
old gods, the old gangsters, the old tribes, the old guard.
So that officially kind of took place with the Romans. Is that when that happened? Which would be around 500 AD or so? Or
no. The start happened with the dissolution. So the Romans came in the first time in 25 BC. The Romans came in the first time, and they got pushed back. They didn't get to stick around very long. They got pushed out. 25 BC. Then you had. In 55
BC.
55 BC and
Julius Caesar, 55 BC and 43 BC.
43 AD?
Claudian invasion.
Right. So you had these invasions. The second Roman invasion stuck, and they ended up kicking around there for a couple of hundred years. And they Romanized England. England, not Wales. They never, ever could make it into Wales. They tried many, many times. And they you ain't coming in here.
Mountainous and shitty, and there's
Sylvia wiped out the 20th Legion.
Yeah, the 20th. The Welsh fucking wiped out the 20th Legion, like decimated it to. So after that, you have Rome left. I can't remember the year Rome properly left. It was around 2500, around 2500 AD.
They left.
Sorry, 250 AD. 2500.
410 AD. They finally left.
Was that when they fully left?
Yeah, that was when they were finally gone. That's when Maximus took all the troops out of England.
So then you have the Rome left, and it kind of left England in a lot of the shambles because they had been completely Romanized for several centuries. Things started getting backed up together. Then you have what I talk about is that comet that hit. Then in 536, 539 AD, and that decimated a whole area of England and a section of Wales. People fled. Well, when everyone left, that's when the fucking Saxons came in. And basically, when a lot of the British came back, the fucking Saxons were like, yeah, we're fucking here now. And over time, like the Saxons they came in and they worked their way down and they worked their way down and they mixed, intermingled, and you ended up with, which is the last really true British king? Would that have been Hengist?
No, he was a Dane.
No, he was a Dane too, wasn't he?
Yeah, they were all Danes up until Alfred.
Yeah. Okay, so Alfred. So like it's a huge long history, Maury. Like this is like basically 2,000 years of complete and utter fuckery. But yeah, England, you've got this whole shit with England. That's it. And then you have William the Conqueror who came in, and then you have William of Orange, right? And there's the Dutch coming in, and then you had like fucking everyone after basically Charles the First, and then when they finally got rid of Oliver Cromwell and hung him from the gates, as they should, they basically brought an emperor in, like a son of the emperor from Germany. And because I can't remember which emperor it was in Germany at the time, his wife was the daughter of Charles I, if I remember this correctly. So therefore, when they ousted Charles I, she was kind of sort of like his sons were all like out of the line. They didn't want them back in. And so they brought in this German, their child, to come in and rule England. And that was the beginning of like basically the Germans taking over the British royal line. Like I said, I think Charles I is the last British king, really, truly. Well, yeah, exactly, Sonia. And then you get the Russians and then the Prussian. Like, I mean, literally, there's
only one true king here. This was King Arthur. That's it.
King Arthur was the true king, and he'll come back.
Well, just remember, England's history is a really weird one because it wasn't known as England.
No.
Right. And before England, it was Britain, Briton. And before Britain, it was, I can't remember what it was. Paul might know. And before that, like, it was actually called Prydean. So, and this goes
and Albion
back, they
as
don't know
well.
how far.
Yeah, it was called,
Albion came
it was
after
called the
Prydean.
Britannic Isles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been searching
Like
maps.
the Phoenicians.
We've
That's
been
the
searching.
Phoenicians who called it that.
Yeah. And that's an
And then
important
there's
one,
all
right?
the races, right? There's the 2 or 3 races that have actually been erased. The Picts,
Yeah.
the pre-Irish, and then whoever the Welsh were.
Yeah.
The pre-Welsh.
Yeah.
So the Welsh they got what we call Wales, I guess. That area, because you're basically saying they pretty much were the power, so to speak, before the Romans showed up, and then the Romans went to war with them and conquered a lot of England, but not all of it. And the Welsh ended up in what we now call Wales, right?
Yeah.
And they couldn't penetrate that. If I'm understanding what you guys are saying.
Yep.
Okay. And they never have been able. That land has always been theirs. Question: when did that? When did that all happen? Like what? 300 AD, 500, 200, what?
Well, like Rome, like I said, so Rome was 65 BC and would you say Paul 43 BC? No.
55 BC was the Julius Caesar's
Caesar.
first. He tried twice.
Yeah.
Got his ass kicked twice. Second time, he lost his legate.
Yeah.
And then they made like a deal with the Britons, and then they were just doing trade and stuff and swapping slaves and shit.
I think the Welsh.
And then they came in, I want to say it was about 25 AD when they came in the second time, and that's where.
No, it was 43 AD when it was the Claudian invasion.
Yeah.
And that's when they went right up to pacify Cornwall. Didn't happen. Tried Wales, no chance. The Subai, like I say, the Subai wiped out the 20th Legion.
Yep.
But they managed. So from 43 up until 71 AD, this was the furthest north they came.
Yeah, because they didn't get into Scotland. They didn't get anywhere near Scotland.
No, that's what I'm saying. Here, Doncaster was the furthest north they came. This was sort of like you could go to York. This is why the fort was built here. Yeah, because the road from Lincoln to York was so dangerous. Yeah, just kept getting ambushed by it because there was the Brigantes to the north. I think it's Catavaluni was around here.
The Silurai.
The Silurais were the Welsh ones.
For the Welsh.
Yeah.
But they were coming up. But they were coming up through the north and coming in and backing up the local tribes to the north.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, the Picts were in the north, right?
The Picts were in the north.
Picts were in the north. Yeah.
Okay, when did Hadrian's Wall show up? I thought that was like the northern border of
they like to think that was the northern border. That was
about I want to say about 275 AD, somewhere around there.
Okay, I thought it was around 240 AD, but I don't. I could be wrong.
Hundreds.
They built. So Hadrian's Wall was built to keep the Picts out. Because the Picts were raiding down, and the Picts were coming all the way fucking down, and they would just decimate. And the Romans, like I said, they never, like Paul was saying, they never got really farther north than Doncaster because it was too close. Like that's they built the wall, but at a huge cost to the Roman legions. Like the building of Hadrian's Wall cost them a fuck of a lot.
Right.
Yeah. The way they did it would just have all these client states up here. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like pay off these Romanized Britons, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we'll chill out on that." Yeah. But they were still like ambushing them and shit like that. I mean, 9 Legion went missing.
Okay, so the Picts are in the north. Are they the same as the Scottish, or are they different?
No, they're totally different, Maury.
Well, where are they now?
The Picts, I don't know. There's a lot of arguments about who the Picts really were. Maury, there's a lot of arguments about who the Picts really were. Were they originally from Ireland? Because there's a lot of stuff that talks that the Picts actually came over from Ireland, but it's very cloudy, and like I don't know. I really don't know. Or did they just meld into the society
like the Basques?
And that's it. I mean,
well,
sorry,
there's some sources that suggest that they came from Scythia originally, the Picts, the Pictish nation. So
what the hell is Scythia?
It's sort of like around the top Black Sea, Kazakhstan, all that area.
Oh, that way
like far away.
Khazaria, all around there, all that sort of area.
Maury, they're the people. Apparently, where we get the word picture from. The reason they're called Picts is because they were tattooed up.
Yeah,
and they were apparently a pretty nice people. They were into agriculture and shit until you fucked with them, and then they just ran at you with spears naked, and they fucked you up, and then disappeared
would disappear into the forest and like never to be. Which is why the Romans gave up and were like, we're going to build a big ass wall to hopefully keep them on the other side, because seriously, we can't deal with them anymore.
Okay, so this is in the north.
Yeah, the original guerrilla warfare, exactly.
Okay. So they were there before any of this intrusion from the Romans, even as far back as you guys are saying.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So
if you look at it, though, and if you want to, because the guys that wrote about the Trojan War possibly taking place here, that's back to Greek times, right? And I think that because what they're suggesting about the Trojan War is that they wanted the control of the tin mines that were here, right? Yeah. For war purposes, for making bronze. So London was a massive trade hub. It was a financial center before the fucking Romans even got
huge.
There was massive learning centers all around this country, and Rome really wanted control of it, and they were really, really pissed off that it wasn't in their control. And I have a funny feeling that the Romans wanted London more than anything.
Well, London was the kind of set up seat of power of trade, right? So, tobacco in the mouth is just not pleasant. And Nick's right. So the tin mines of Cornwall were the biggest tin mines in the world. In the known world at that time, like the Phoenicians came all the way up to fucking England to buy tin from the Cornish. So we're talking like way back BC. We're talking like 800 BC.
And copper.
And gold out of Wales. They would come and trade for gold out of Wales, because Wales has got a very unique colored gold, very unique color. So this trade was going. And this is the thing. When the Romans came, there were like in British history now, they try to pass off that like basically until the Romans came, it was just a bunch of barbarians that lived here.
Yeah, no written language.
They were just a bunch of like crazy, wild barbarians who just, and then the Romans came and civilized them all. That's what you get taught in history now. Truth of the matter is, in Julius Caesar's own books, his own writings, his son was sent to Wales to be educated at the University of Wales. All the royalty in Rome and Greece sent their children to Wales and England to be educated in the universities that were there. So much for the whole theory about it being nothing but peopled by barbarians. Like, seriously, all the royalty of Europe sent their kids here to be educated.
Education here.
You had the Druids. You had all, exactly.
Magic here.
Yeah.
That's where the magic schools were, and you got to remember the Romans tried to conquer it, right? They fucked up, and then William the Conqueror went, and he went straight to London and went, "You guys got a free passage. I know what you're up to," and went and fucked everyone else up.
Yep, pretty much. And poor Maury now is probably regretting that he asked.
No, I'm just trying to follow, because it went a lot of different directions, and
sorry,
I could follow pretty good, but I get lost too.
If you get a copy of Geoffrey Monmouth's, what do you call it?
history of
the Kings of Britain.
Yeah.
He's got a timeline chart in the back of there, which kind of goes from, 1240 BC, which is when Troy fell, allegedly.
Yeah.
And it goes through, and he escapes from Troy, blah, 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 gets captured, gets taken to Italy. He has a son and a grandson. His grandson, he's called Brutus. He's the one who sails to Britain on some deal or something. And he landed here in 1115 BC.
Yeah. So
interesting thing about this though, Danny, I've gone through this. I'm like, taking it with a pinch of salt and stuff. If you read Ninnius in there at the front in his thing, he says when Brutus landed here, there were 36 cities. And he's got a list.
I'm glad you brought that up, Paul.
Exactly. Like, this is the whole thing.
So,
they're like, Brutus came and civilized, and that was Geoffrey of Monmouth. So that was 1058.
Yeah, he was
around there that he wrote the history of the kings of England.
Well, he was using
Brutus being the first guy. But the same thing, Brutus got here. There was already a thriving fucking country who was doing trade all over the world, etc. So even Brutus was not the civilized
he was the first king of Britain.
Yeah.
He kind of sort of like unified these tribes down the south. Because the legend goes is when he landed, I think it was Totnes in Devon, he landed and he was met by a tribe of 12-foot tall, blonde-haired giants. And this kind of like had a falling out, and he says, I can take you on. So he kills them and wipes them out. And then, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I think it was, they were doing some excavation work down there on one of these dolmens, one of these tombs, and they found a 12-foot skeleton. And then the next couple of days,
haven't heard anything about that.
Disappeared. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've been listening to a lot of stuff where the fucking Smithsonian has been just
and the London Museum of Natural History, same thing. Like fucking walk in and then bloop, oh, I'm sorry, that's just disappeared.
We've got to remember that the geography was very, very different, which is why we now have things like the Orkney Islands and stuff like that, because it was joined, which is
pause just for a second, Ben. Pause, because we're already like 20 minutes into this. Welcome to the UnFuckIt Discussion, everyone. I guess we're talking history today, or what we don't know, or all the lies we've been fed for fucking ever. What?
Okay, so out of the unfuckers, Ben, I know you've been watching a lot of free energy shit. I've looked at a lot of free energy shit. I've looked at compendium books on different devices, a bunch of different fucking compendium books, from like cover to cover. So in all of your readings, now we just watched our KX video. Did you watch that, Maury?
Maury was there live, I think, for yesterday's, weren't you, Maury? I'm pretty sure I saw you in chat.
I was there. I said hello, you didn't catch it. So
I was in and out and around Maury.
Have you ever heard of them in Dusseldorf using fields of fucking balloons with ground cables and fucking ground plates and harvesting massive amounts of electricity from fields of fucking balloons?
It wasn't Dusseldorf. That was where the electric train was. I can't remember where these pictures were. I'm pretty sure it was
German place.
Are you talking Germany?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What time frame?
Okay, pause.
Early 1800s.
No, mid 1800s. I look like most of the pictures were like 1860, 1880. Okay, listen.
I mean, you have to understand. Hang on, before you go on. This area here, that is basically my turf that you were talking about here.
Yeah.
Like this is neighboring cities. These are so grown together that this is like one mega city you call what do you call it? Ruhrgebiet.
Step is the right one. Not too sharp, I got anything left. Look for it at the right time, but it doesn't seem to come. Or do I get distracted by the turbulence?